Hi, my name is Ian Rabinowitz, and today I'll be talking all about nitrogen management for organic gardens. Managing nitrogen fertilization is a problem that every gardener and farmer will have to contend with. Nitrogen is the most limiting nutrient in almost any ecosystem on Earth, despite making up the majority of Earth's atmosphere. Nitrogen is an extremely important nutrient used by plants to make amino acids, to assemble proteins and enzymes, as well as being an essential part of DNA and RNA. It's also an integral part of chlorophyll, so providing the right amount of nitrogen is essential for proper plant growth. Too little nitrogen in the soil will cause yellowing leaves, stunted plants, and drastic reductions in productivity. Too much nitrogen, while less common, causes excess vegetative growth or nutrient burn, reducing productivity. Organic growers face a bigger challenge in managing nitrogen than non-organic growers. Non-organic growers simply use synthetic nitrogen fertilizers created through a chemical reaction from the nitrogen in the atmosphere. Organic growers must use organic sources of fertilizer, primarily animal manures, composts, and crop residues. It is more difficult to manage these forms of fertilizer primarily because we have less control over the amounts of different nutrients that we are applying. This is because manures and composts typically have a low ratio of nitrogen to other nutrients such as phosphorus and potassium, so applying enough of them to reach your nitrogen goals often ends up putting way too much of the other nutrients into the soil. This causes competition in the soil and an uptake by the plant, as well as toxicities in the plant. Chicken and other poultry manures are often preferred for vegetable crops as they contain more nitrogen and other nutrients than other manures. Synthetic fertilizers like ammonium sulfate or UAN allow you to choose exactly how much of specific nutrients you can apply, but organic growers do not have that flexibility. One issue specific to nitrogen is that much of the nitrogen available to plants in the soil is actually lost before the plant ever gets the chance to take it up. Taking a look at the nitrogen cycle, we can see that the eventual fate of the nitrogen that we apply is either to be leached out, lost to the atmosphere by denitrification or volatilization, bound to soil particles, or to end up in the plant. Nitrogen can be lost very rapidly from the soil depending on the form of nitrogen and the conditions. Most gardeners fertilize shortly before, during, or after planting, but crop nitrogen demands at the seed or seedling stage are actually minimal to none. Different crops will have different needs, but in general, nitrogen needs will increase through the spring and into summer. Nitrogen should be applied according to the crop needs for optimal growth. Although organic growers have a smaller range of fertilizers to select from than non-organic growers, there are still many organic nitrogen fertilizer products available. A quick search online shows manure products, ground up animal products, composts, ground up plant products, and seed meals. Composts are made of combinations of mostly decomposed plant and or animal materials. There are mushroom and plant-based options too, but animal waste tends to have a lot of nitrogen and is preferred. You can apply and incorporate them prior to or during planting and then side dress with them throughout the season. There are also plant and animal-based meals high in nitrogen, like blood meal, feather meal, fish meal, and alfalfa meal. Most of these will release nitrogen very slowly as organic material breaks down, so they are great to apply prior to planting or even at the end of the previous season for a slow release of nitrogen throughout the growing season. And remember that you can always tell whether a product is organic by looking for the OMRI certification on the label. The last option is cover crops. Cover crops have become very popular with corn and soybean growers, and they can be beneficial to gardeners and vegetable growers too. Cover crops are seeded at the end of the season and provide a living cover for your soil, protecting it from erosion and runoff, increasing organic matter and microbial communities, suppressing diseases and pests, improving soil texture, and they're also a good organic source of nitrogen. You can purchase a pre-made cover crop mix or you can make your own. Typically, plants like oats, barley, and radishes are the easiest to manage and improve soil quality greatly. But for nitrogen, you would also want legumes like clover or vetch, which fix nitrogen from the atmosphere. Most of these will be killed over winter, and then you can incorporate their nitrogen rich plant residues or just plant directly into them using them as a mulch. Legume cover crops are a great, safe, and budget friendly way to add nitrogen to your soil. Finally, I wanted to mention the importance of regular soil tests. Soil tests rarely measure nitrogen because the levels fluctuate frequently, accuracy is poor, and crops always seem to need more. But if you are using manures or compost, you must keep an eye on your phosphorus and potassium levels to avoid competition and toxicity. Soil test levels for many crops are widely available online. Soil tests will also tell you your pH, which can affect nutrient availability and the fate of the nitrogen that you're applying in the soil, as well as your organic matter content and your levels of other nutrients in the soil. You should take soil samples every 2 to 3 years or more frequently if you suspect you have a toxicity or deficiency issue. Thank you.